Hey, what up, y'all? Thanks for tuning in to yet another exciting video. In the last video, I did talk about how I achieve or how I take minimal aesthetic photos. I did tell you guys tips and tricks that you need to look for in order to compose an image to achieve minimal aesthetic looks. And I did tell in that video that editing also plays an important role in achieving the minimal aesthetic look, and that is going to be this video. As you've seen on the title of this video, it says film look. The reason why I did say film look is because I do incorporate film in every image that I do, even in my digital images that I actually take using my DSLRs or using this phone that I have. And that being said, I use or take inspiration from film to get or obtain the minimal aesthetic look on my images. Also, before I actually go further into the actual content of this video, I would like to stress that it is more important to focus on composing the right images. What I mean is, it doesn't really matter if you have a good preset or whatever preset it is. If you just slap that preset on whatever photo and the photo is, say, bad, it wouldn't change the fact that the image was bad to begin with, and it wouldn't make it good at all. So just keep that in mind to always take good photos and think about the color processing later. And that being said, we can now hop into the actual content of this video. So the app that I use in achieving the film look on my iPhone is RNI films. Visco is really good in what they do, but then they have this film presets that I used to use before, but it just doesn't work for me. And to me, RNI is just making things a lot easier and simpler for my workflow. That's why I am actually choosing them. Also, I am not entirely sure if this is applicable or the app is available to Android users. So if you're an Android user, I'm really sorry. Just check it for yourself. First things first, load the photo to RNI. And the image that I'll be using is basically the shoe on the plant that I did talk about from the last video, just to make things a little bit simpler. So the first thing that you will see here are a lot of presets. These are the free presets the app would normally come with. As you swipe to the right, you'll see that there are Fuji ones. The one that has a yellow bar at the bottom means that you have to pay for it. The presets that I use from RNI are Kodak, and those ones I paid for. The pack costed me $4 or $5, but I think it's worth it if you ask me. You might ask me why I'm not using the free ones. The reason being is because it doesn't really achieve the looks that I'm actually after, so hence the reason why I did opt in for Kodak and paid for the price of it. There's only 3 presets that I would normally use from this pack, and those are Kodak Portra 160 or Kodak Portra 160 v.2 or Kodak Portra 160 v.3. I think based out of all that, I think I wanted to use Portra 160 v.2. And to see the before and after, you just have to hold the image down and release it to see the after. So again, hold it down, that's the before, and release, that's the after. Right after that, I would go to the settings, and the first thing that I would do is definitely look at the exposure of this image or the brightness of it. And to me, it looks really nice now, but I think I could still bump it up to a little bit just to make it a little bit brighter. Next up would be contrast. Since the preset kind of added a little bit more contrast to the image, I would lessen it down. I always try to make sure that the image would always retain the original colors of it, or at least its look, just to, obviously for simplicity. Next would be strength. Normally I would go for only 50 to 60%, because like I said, I would like to retain the original colors of the images. So I think 60, 62, I'm happy. Let's see the before. Yep. I think at this point we're looking extra good now for achieving the minimal aesthetic look. And now let's hop into shadows. The shadows of this image looks really good now, but I can still bump that a little bit to maybe that. I think we're good. We're good. Highlights are good, so I'm not gonna touch that. Post warmth. The warmness of this image looks really good now to me, but we could probably see maybe -5, just a little bit of -7 is good for me. Yeah, it looks really good. It looks really good at that point. And then post tint, I would try to probably put a little bit of a green tint to it, because of the plant, and I think the green tint is actually complementing the green tones that the plant is adding to the overall image. So those are the only settings that I'll be touching, and I wouldn't be touching the other settings. I'm just going to export it to the camera roll. So now that we are done editing on RNI, I would go to the Photos app and finish my final touches on the image. the first thing that I would do is make sure that the image is actually straight. So I would check. At this point, I think it looks really straight now, so I don't really have to touch that. At this point, I wouldn't really touch anything specific. I would just press auto. It does its own thing. And the thing here is that the image has already been good. I'm just bumping it up a little bit better. At this point, it's really, really good now for me, and I would really ship it and post it on Instagram. And something that I would always just make sure to reduce back to zero is contrast, saturation, and vibrance, because I don't want the image to look very saturated or contrasty. So at this point, we're basically done editing, and that is pretty much how I edit my images to achieve the film/minimal aesthetic look using my iPhone. And I am just so happy that at least nowadays we have that kind of app that offers this film presets that we can use to simulate film and apply it on the images that we take every day. Obviously, taking photos using actual film is different, but definitely that is not something that we can do all the time. Anyway, I hope you did find something valuable out of this video and you learned something. Also, if you did like this video, please leave a thumbs up as it helps the channel a lot. And also, if you're new here, thanks for dropping by and consider subscribing for more amazing videos in the future. Also, if you wanted to check out my work on Instagram, you can definitely find that on the description down below, as well as my TikTok. I have a TikTok that is related to fashion, and you can definitely find that on the description down below as well. Also, if you have any questions or any topics that you'd like me to cover, just put them down in the comment section down below and I'll happily answer them for you. Until next time, stay safe. Peace.